but it's to understand that if you really want to make these changes, it's about lifestyle change, mind, body, soul, spirit, if you're, in alignment with that. And that we have to work on all aspects of that because they all fuel each other and they all connect with each other. And so being able to explain that to them and explain, that, hey, it sounds like you're insecure with your body and that's why you went on the diets. And now that's why you're emotionally eating because you've restricted yourself too much and it's not attainable. So now you're going the other way. And because you have a perfectionist all or nothing mindset, after you binge or you emotionally eat, then you panic and freak out about gaining weight and losing control with your body. So now the pendulum swings the other way and now you're going, oh, diet, I got to Google quickest ways to lose 10 pounds. You pull your credit card and out of desperation, fear, worry, anger, you're purchasing the program. So you're not making a decision that supports your greatest good. You're making an ego-based decision, an impulsive decision without really thinking about it.
When I first started my wedding photography business back in 2011, I made just $5,000 in my business. Now, I bring in multiple six figures per year while working only 30-hour weeks serving my dream couples. I'm here to help you discover that it's so possible to have what you want, when you want in your business, so that you can create the life you've always dreamed of and deserve. So because this is a podcast for photographers that both covers business development and also personal development, because I truly believe that both need to be intertwined and both need to be worked on so that we can actually uplevel our lives and our businesses at the same time. I'm excited to introduce an episode about emotional eating. And I was joined by Amber, who is an emotional eating expert, and we opened up to you guys. We became really vulnerable at moments, just sharing our emotional eating stories and journeys and how we used to sometimes binge on foods and make us get to the point where we were just like really making ourselves sick. Because, we just used food to cope with our emotions, whether it was conscious or unconscious. And if you are dealing with something similar, if you're dealing with a food addiction or you're binging, just know you're not alone. And Amber's just has been incredible with diving into some tips, some mindset tips and tricks into how you can just get started on slowly getting back on the right path that you want to maybe go on so that you feel healthier, have more energy, and you're not such a slave to these cravings that pop up very often. And I know exactly what that feels like. Sometimes you just feel like you cannot have control over your cravings. So I'm going to just quickly introduce Amber to you guys, and then we're going to jump straight into the episode. So Amber Romaniuk is an emotional eating, digestive, and hormone expert who helps professional women achieve optimal health through mindful eating, self-care, and overcoming self-sabotage with food. Her podcast, the No Sugarcoating Podcast, has over 500,000 downloads, over 200 episodes, and is listened to in over 82 countries. She was featured on TV personality Whitney Port's podcast, and Amber has also appeared on local TV 50 times in the last 3 years alone. When I read that, I'm like, holy crap, damn, like girl boss. So Amber overcame her own emotional eating after gaining and losing more than 1,000 pounds over the course of some time and spending over $50,000 on binge foods and spending 5 years balancing her hormones and digestion. Now she helps others achieve body freedom so they have the confidence and health to create amazing lives. So if you are listening to this and you're like, oh, I do feel stuck in that area of my life. I mean, our health, right? It trickles into every area of our life. So if that's not fixed, then maybe that's why we're not getting the results we want in our business and in our life, right? So if this sounds like it could speak to you, keep tuning in, and I really hope you enjoy this episode. Hi, Amber. Yay. Thank you so much for joining me on my podcast. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you, Sarah. I'm so excited too. I've been looking forward to this. So yeah, great to be here.
Yeah. And as soon as I heard about, or you reached out to me and I was like, I saw that you're an emotional eating expert. I was like, oh my gosh. It was like, kind of like, I was dealing with some kind of like transformation in my own personal life with eating, and because I used to binge eat a lot and all that kind of stuff, and it was kind of at the point in my life where I was actually, that was kind of coming back to the surface. So then when I saw you reach out, I'm like, oh my gosh, like not only would I benefit from learning a bit more about what you do and how you do it, but also my audience, which, you know, this is a podcast for photographers, and one of the biggest problems in the industry I find is just overwork and overwhelm. So because photographers mostly think that they have to wear all the hats in the business, that's the only way to get things done.
Right.
They find themselves working 12 to 15-hour days nonstop, especially like May to November. And I mean, I used to do that. I think it was like about 4 years ago now that I started to outsource and really delegate more. But before that, man, it was just like I was at my most unhealthiest I've ever been, just working all those hours and just binge eating at the end of the night and all of that. So yeah, I think you're going to add a lot of value to this podcast, because I haven't had anyone on here to talk about this before. And I think a lot of us, you know, photographers need that help. So I kind of want to open up this episode with a quote that you mentioned, I noticed in your Instagram, that like really hit home. And I think we can just like expand on that and just, you know, go off the cuff and talk about it. But this is what you wrote. You survive off caffeine, sugar, and empty calorie foods to try to boost your energy levels to get you through your day. Your to-do list is full of work, family and friend obligations, but there are no lunch breaks, water breaks, or self-care breaks scheduled for yourself to truly stop, de-stress, and take care of your health and well-being. This can fuel many health issues, weight gain, and emotional eating. And when I read this, I was like, oh my God, that resonates so much with me, like with how I used to be, with everything I just mentioned. So yeah, I would love to maybe even just like start with asking you, like, for example, like when a business owner tells you, but I don't have time to eat healthy, like what is your response to them?
Yeah, you know, and that's really where we get into the layers of I go, okay, well, let's explore your schedule and why do you not have time? Because it is a story. Because then when, you know, we start to uncover that they're spending an hour scrolling on social media mindlessly, or multiple hours, or, you know, there's a lack of boundaries. So therefore, you know, they're again overbooking and going and overexpending and working extra hours and answering emails and working into the evening. You know, lack of dedication of time is one of the biggest reasons why people say that they don't have time. But what's below that is the mindset. So that's where really it can get into like, you know, I'm a people pleaser. I'm a perfectionist. I'm an overachiever. I need to prove myself, prove my worth. My validation lies in other people and what they think of me. And that what is below that is that insecurity and not feeling good enough. And so that's really what we have to address, is the lack of worthiness that is then fueling this need to prove externally that I'm a good enough person. And if I get that validation from my customers and my friends and my family members, that's what drives me and that's what makes me happy. And so that's why people stay in that cycle versus going, okay, yeah, but I don't have any time for myself, and my health fails, and my relationship with food fails, and my body insecurities keep getting worse, and I physically continue to feel more unwell, and it impacts my mood. So that's why it's so important to understand that it's the mindset, the ego, which is a self-sabotaging mindset, that is fueling these behaviors of thinking you have to go out and be all these things for everyone else, but that you're not even able to show up for yourself to nourish your body. It's okay if you're there. Everyone starts somewhere, but it's to start to plant these seeds of awareness of how it's impacting your nutrition and your health and well-being.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, that is so well said. Again, what you mentioned that resonated is, I'm like, you hit the nail on the head with looking back to when I was doing that. I was just like, I was so focused. I wanted so desperately for my business to be successful and take off and reach my business goals that my whole focus was literally just on that. And so I was looking for external validation of like, whenever I would post, the more I posted, the more validation I got from the outside. And obviously there's also a lack of worthiness that I know was from like my past when I was like bullied or not as accepted for being who I was, but only when I succeeded in sports or art did people validate me. So it was actually a pattern that I noticed, and it was linked to my eating. So yeah, I guess like for you, obviously you got into this line of work. Is that kind of something you went through as well? And that's what inspired you to, help other humans that are dealing with this?
Yeah, definitely part of it. And so for me, when I started to understand that I really was a people pleaser, that I really put so much of my power into what other people thought of me. And if I upset anyone, like I get so upset and freak out and be like, I got to fix it. I don't want conflict. And like was just so insecure about relationships and wanting to have that perfectionism with like my diet and with my weight and all these external things that I thought would just make life perfect and give me what I wanted. It really started to exhaust me. And when I saw how those things were fueling my binge eating, my food addiction, my issues with food, I really thought, okay, well, why is it this way? Why am I this way? This isn't fulfilling me. It's just making my digestive issues worse. It's making me more tired. It's making me have worse cravings. And once I really started to understand that I didn't feel good enough and I didn't feel worthy, and that I was putting all this expectation on other people to tell me I was good enough or to reassure me that they loved me or liked me or whatever, it really made me realize, wow, I need to really work on my mindset. I need to build my self-worth. I need to figure out how to feel good enough. I need to figure out how to love myself. And what I've come to now is to really understand how we have been conditioned to dislike our bodies, to hate our bodies, to be critical, to put our worth outside of ourselves into external things, to get into the hustle, which I hate that word. What a great way to create adrenal fatigue and other issues. It's all these things that are sadly normalized, which should not be normalized, only promote, less time for yourself, less time to connect with yourself, less time to take care of yourself. And those are not mediums ideally that we should be attaching to or giving any energy to. If something is telling you got to like go hard or go home and you've got to hustle, and you should be burning the midnight oil, blah, blah, blah. It's like, well, where in there at all does that help you with your health and well-being, your mental health, emotional health, spiritual health, like all avenues? It doesn't. So if you're continually trying to do the same things over and over, improve yourself and keep overextending and spreading yourself too thin, yet you're not happy with yourself, your health, your body, you're emotionally eating, and then the next day you're dieting and restricting, you really have to take a step back and go, what am I thinking and believing? What are my thoughts and beliefs about myself? And what have I inherited that I've learned from TV, social media, magazines, music videos, movies, etc., that I'm taking on? What conditioning have I taken on that's put me in this place where I'm behaving this way?
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Because
and actually,
that's everything.
Sorry, keep going. Yeah.
Well, that's everything, right? Like you inherit the conditioning from your parents or the people you spend the most time with when you're growing up, being bullied or whatever traumatic, unfortunate experiences you may have gone through, and through what you consume via technology and, reading. So magazines, TV, music, celebrities, news, right? Like social media apps. You're consuming just like you would consume food, but it's going into your mind, and that dictates your habits and your thoughts.
Yeah. I love how, like you just saying kind of like, if you go into this cycle, it's kind of like, for what? If you want all this success, right? Because normally we hustle because we want to be successful at work or whatever. But what if your life is cut short? Then it's like, for what? If your life is cut short. Actually, I'm reading a book called Limitless by Jim Quick. And there's an amazing metaphor he has in there comparing us to like a car. He's like, what if you could only have one car for the rest of your life? How would you fuel it? How would you take care of it? I'm like, oh my gosh, that is freaking amazing. So yeah, just that comparison. And so, okay. So you talked about like, you've been through binge eating and all of that. So like, what are some things that were your go-to to binge eat? And also, how long did it take you to kind of transform from that moment of like your lowest of lows and being like, fuck it, I'm done with this, to really feeling like you're getting the hang of it?
Yeah. And so I think I unconsciously binge ate like all growing up, but it's really hit hard in my early 20s. But for me, a binge would look like going to the store, and specifically I'd go to like the organic store because I was justifying, well, it's organic sugar and it honestly does not matter though. When you're eating mass quantities of something, it doesn't matter what it is. It's hard on your body. And so I would fill my basket up with like a sandwich and a pasta salad. And then I'd go to the like deli section and get like chocolate and baked goods and cookies. And then I'd go get a pint of ice cream and a bag of chips and a small, package of cheese and candy, and literally would fill up my cart. It usually was about $75 to $80 worth of food that I would purchase. And then I would start eating it on the way home. And then I would put in a movie, of course, to check out and sit there and binge and just be like, I wish I was the people in the movie. They have such a great life. Look at that storyline. I want to be like them. I suck. I'm sitting here binging and I hate my body. Like, this sucks. Like, what, why? Right. So that was my reality. And for me, the low point came probably after I was deep in binge eating for about a year. Like, I went through a period of, binging and purging and got out of that. But really the low point was I had finished a binge and I just felt so uncomfortable and so full. And I was in so much physical pain and I was crying. And I was just like, if I keep doing this, I don't know if I'm going to make 30, because I was about 21, 22 at the time. And just thinking, I'm being so hard on my body physically, emotionally, all the negative self-talk, the extreme diets and the binging, the exercise, that's a punishment. And I thought, I don't want this to be my end, but I didn't know how to stop it. And I was like, okay, well, I've got to do something. So I lay there for a while longer. And as the food settled, I thought, well, if this is the last time I'm going to do this, I might as well finish what I, had started. And after I finish a binge, I'd always throw the food in the garbage. And so I went into my kitchen, I pulled out my little blue garbage can, I ate the food out of the garbage, and I just sat on the floor and started to cry again, because I thought, I just ate out of a garbage. Who am I? Why is this happening to me? Like, I'm a good person. Why am I being dealt this hand? It really just didn't make sense at the time. Obviously now I know, but it was really low. But I needed that to happen because, for me, what it really was, and there's a really great quote, I'm not sure who said it, but it's like when, the fear is bigger than, the want to change, and the fear is bigger than the suffering, you will continue to suffer. And in that moment, the suffering got bigger than the fear to want to change and the fear of the unknown of what it would look like if I embarked on that journey. And I said, I don't care, how fearful I am or how unknown this journey is going to be. I can't keep doing this to myself, or I'm not going to be happy and healthy and have all the things that I want in my life. And that was really a huge wake up moment for me. I didn't know how I was going to do it, but I just knew this was not the quality of life that I wanted to stay in for myself.
Wow. Okay. Thank you for being so vulnerable and open and sharing that. Cause that's like like I got emotional just listening to you. Cause yeah, it's just such a real moment. I could just like picture it in my head of you going through that. And maybe it's happened to someone listening and they feel ashamed and don't know how to get out of that. So you sharing that made them feel less alone. So thank you, first of all, so much for that. Man, I'm such an emotional, I'm like a Cancer. So it's like,
me too.
Oh I want to cry right now. You are?
Yeah.
My God. That's awesome. Okay. Yeah. I could like one of my lowest moments, this actually, I don't remember when it was. Maybe it was like at the start of the pandemic. Crazy to say. But I think I just like ate so much. Actually, it could have been last year. I don't remember. I think I just like blocked it out of my mind. I ate so much like cheese and like chips and other stuff that at the end of the night when I was going to go to bed, I felt so sick that I actually had to like vomit a lot to get my body back in balance, because I was just saying like, this is too much of this in my body right now. And that was kind of like a turning point of slowly getting back to like stopping binging. So my goal became, okay, at least stop binging, still have those things, but don't eat a whole bag of chips and a whole wheel of brie and a whole dip like all together at once. Just like maybe do half. It's like that's the next little step. So that's kind of like what helped me. I totally get it. you're trying to get noticed and you don't know how. I mean, raise your hand if wondering where your next booking will come from keeps you up at night. I know how that feels like. I was there once too. But I'm about to help you get clear on how to increase your bookings and inquiries. After coaching many portrait and wedding photographers, I realized they all had one thing in common that was holding them back from booking their dream clients. They didn't know how to market themselves. Once they got clarity on how to show up and put what they learned from me into action, they began to book more of their dream clients. And now I'm excited to help you do the same. So I've created a mini course called Crystal Clear Marketing to, you guessed it, help you get crystal clear on how to attract and book your dream clients. I mean, the year I implemented this, my revenue grew from $69,000 to $137,000 in just 1 year. So if I can do it, you can do it too. So in case you're wondering, inside of the Crystal Clear Marketing mini course, I share how to optimize your website so that more of your dream clients inquire and book, how to go from being a generalist to becoming a specialist, and why it matters, how to find out who you are at your core and fuse it fearlessly into your business. Also, how to show up on IG so you attract quality followers. That's so important. How to make the money you deserve while feeling fulfilled with your work, and how to make marketing effortless and fun, because it should be. Running our business should be fun. So what I'm so excited to share with you is that I've made this very affordable. So to get all the deets and enroll in this mini course, go to sarahmonica.com/crystal clear. Again, head over to sarahmonica.com/crystal clear. I cannot wait to see you in there. Do you have any mindset tricks that can help someone overeat or stop, or help them stop binging and stuff? Like, yeah, any mindset tricks that someone can implement maybe right away?
Yeah, I think the first step is to just be aware that you are doing it. And so people always say, well, I don't know if I'm an emotional eater. I don't eat when I'm sad. And I go, well, emotional eating is any reason for eating other than physical nourishment. So if you associate TV and eating, you're eating while you work, you're driving while you're eating, you finish dinner and then you want to pick through the cupboard, like all of that is emotional eating. It's all mindless. So the first step to really ask yourself, or the first question is, am I physically hungry or is this emotional hunger? Do I really need to physically nourish my body or is this emotional? And if you've just eaten or something emotional has come up for you, or you have a craving, or you're tired, you're dehydrated, you're likely emotionally hungry. And that's where it's important to go, what maybe is making me feel this way? And what maybe do I need to give myself instead that I really need? And so that's a powerful question to start asking yourself. And if it's that you're skipping meals through the day and you're not making dedicated time to nourish your body physically, then starting to, book time in your calendar and take your lunch break and stop working and set healthy boundaries to create that time to nourish your body is so important.
That's a great one. Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
I think I just kind of naturally went to that point where I was like, okay, the way to stop binging eating is just to ask myself, am I really hungry for more? And the answer right away is like, oh no, like you already ate half of all this crap. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay, tea time.
Yeah.
Has the key been the savior.
Yeah. And tea can be a good thing to go to, though. The key to know is that it may not just be that easy, right? It may not be as easy going, oh yeah, I'm not physically hungry. This is emotional. So I'm going to go and make the cup of tea. There's a strong pull for a lot of people. And that has to do with every time you do this and you repeat the pattern in your brain grows stronger and stronger. And even on days where you don't want to do it, it just feels like this magnetizing pull. And that's where it's important to, potentially consider if this is something that's been going on for a long time for you to get help of some kind, because it's about potential blood sugar imbalances that can fuel cravings and hormone and digestive imbalances. It's about, understanding all the different reasons that trigger you to binge eat. It's about understanding your body image and how you're associating your weight and your worth with it. It's about understanding what external factors in your environment trigger you to emotionally eat, or comparing your body on social media, and that triggers you. So there's many layers of this journey, and there's the energetic aspect of it for people who believe in energy and spirituality, which is like when you're an empath and you go out into a crowd and you get overwhelmed overwhelmed and you don't know how to deal with that, that could trigger you to emotionally eat, or taking on other people's stuff could trigger you to emotionally eat. So there's so many layers to look at here. And that's why, yeah, for starters, it's a good question to start asking yourself. However, if you've tried that and that's not working for you, you may want to explore, getting a deeper level of support to really help you address those root issues.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. I love how you really pay attention to really diving into the why, because it's the why that really matters to healing and stuff like that, and hit home with that. So if someone comes to you and they're just like, I don't know why I'm emotionally eating, or I don't know why I just can't stop myself. What does the process look like with you being there to help them and help unearth all of these reasons?
Yeah. So the first step is, they've ahead of time filled out just like a short intake form so that we can talk through and understand, like, what are your goals and what are you struggling with and what's holding you back, right? And then we talk about that. And, they say, I've tried everything and nothing is working. And so then I ask, okay, well, what have you tried? And 100% of the time it's usually diets. And so once I hear that answer, I go, okay, well, the diet doesn't help you identify your triggers. The diet doesn't help you build your self-worth. The diet doesn't help you understand your digestive system, your hormones, or teach you how to listen to your body. It teaches you more rules. It teaches you that you need to have more control and more willpower, which are false and which is not healthy. Those are not things that help you build a healthy relationship with food or your body. They fuel perfectionism, which is ego-based, which is left brain, which is disempowering. And that does not serve us in empowering ourselves and learning how to listen to our own bodies. So it's so important to help them understand that it's okay that they've done the diets. Most of us have, through conditioning, and, that's what we're taught. But it's to understand that if you really want to make these changes, it's about lifestyle change, mind, body, soul, spirit, if you're, in alignment with that. And that we have to work on all aspects of that, because they all fuel each other and they all connect with each other. And so being able to explain that to them and explain, that, hey, it sounds like you're insecure with your body, and that's why you went on the diets. And now that's why you're emotionally eating, because you've restricted yourself too much and it's not attainable. So now you're going the other way. And because you have a perfectionist, all or nothing mindset, after you binge or you emotionally eat, then you panic and freak out about gaining weight and losing control with your body. So now the pendulum swings the other way. And now you're going, oh, diet, I got to Google quickest ways to lose 10 pounds. You pull out your credit card, and out of desperation, fear, worry, anger, you're purchasing the program. So you're not making a decision that supports your greatest good. You're making an ego-based decision, an impulsive decision without really thinking about it. And a lot of people can resonate with that, because a lot of people have done that. And again, it's okay if you have, but it's to understand, what does it cost you financially, physically, mentally, emotionally to stay stuck in this cycle? Do you have 8 different sizes of clothing in your closet because your weight's yo-yoing all over the place? Are you throwing away so much food because you're not taking the time to prepare it? You have all the intent, but you're throwing it out because you're not making the time, right? Are you buying lots of binge food, or going out and, fast food all the time, or, spending all this money on mindless diets and quick fixes? Like, it really adds up in all these different areas of our lives to stay in that narrative. So that's a big part of the conversation that I usually have with most of my clients. And then we talk about their physical symptoms, and bloating and low energy are very common symptoms, and, other suspected hormone and gut imbalances. And a lot of them say to me, because I ask the question, what do you think is holding you back? And a lot say fear of failure, fear of this not working, tried so many things, nothing is working, I've lost all hope in myself. And so it's so important to understand that failure is a good thing, and it's inevitable. You can learn from failure if you open to it. Failure's gotten a bad rap, but it's a learning opportunity. It's a growth opportunity. And if you fail, you can learn from it and take those learnings forward, put them in your tool belt, move forward, and keep growing. So I say to people, you're going to fail on this journey. This is not about perfection. I'm going to teach you how to unlearn perfection and how to learn balance and mindfulness and compassion for yourself. And as they do this, they unlearn the perfection and they learn to embrace the failure. And then the fear goes away because they don't fail. And the program does not work. It works because they show up and do the work. And that's, the most fulfilling thing and empowering thing is when they do decide it's right for them. And it's okay if people don't, because it's all about alignment. But when they do decide to do the work, no one ever says, I regret doing this. Say, I wish I would have done this sooner.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, you just need a mic drop right there. First of all, I see and I feel how passionate you are about this.
Oh,
And
thank
like
you.
my mind is already blown with all the connections that you're making and how passionately you're talking about it. So I can only imagine like if you're customizing this to someone, like it's just incredible what you do.
Thank you.
So actually, I'm curious because I know that, you know, our foods obviously nourish us, and this is like something new that I've been focusing on. It's just crazy how much junk food I've eaten in my life beforehand. But do you have any great food options that come to mind, you know, that nourish the brain and energize or anything like that?
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of great things. I find that this is a big one. We need carbohydrates. Okay. So all these high fat, high protein diets that are just doing so much damage to people, you know, because they take more energy to break down. We need protein and fat. Yes, we do. However, to restrict or cut out carbohydrates, which are energy source, brain fuel, important for so many different processes of the body. And I'm not talking about donuts. I'm talking about fruits and vegetables. I'm talking about brown rice and quinoa, lentils or beans. Like, and then you may be going, well, Amber, have gut issues. A lot of those things make me bloated. Well, if that's the case, then we have to work on strengthening your digestive system and understand the root causes, because you should not be getting bloated by, you know, eating fibrous foods, right? So just as an aside, if anyone has that objection, so that is important for brain health, right? Vitamin C is important for our mood. So apples, bell peppers, oranges, citrus fruits, great for rich in vitamin C, which is important for boosting the mood. Vitamin D is important for boosting the mood. Your EPA and DHA from your healthy fats like fatty fish, omega-3s, which are in avocados and walnuts and chia and hemp seeds and flax. These are important for our brain health and our mood. The other thing that's important for mood and energy is our gut flora. And so our gut flora, we have like over 8 pounds of bacteria in our large intestine, hundreds of different kinds of bacteria. And if you've had to take antibiotics or you eat sugar, drink alcohol, eat foods that are rich in, you know, mold and yeast, then you can throw that flora out of balance. Yeah. And like, you know, peanuts and stuff like that. It's interesting. So if you throw that out of whack, you're probably tired. You may have brain fog, poor memory, bloated.
Second brain.
Your mood may be lower because your gut is your second brain. And so if your gut flora is compromised, it can really impact your energy levels and your mood. And so that's why it's important to investigate that and take a good probiotic. Like out of anything that I could suggest for the whole world to take, it would be a good quality probiotic. Why? Because everyone's gut flora is compromised in some way because of stress, environmental factors, nutrition, and other imbalances going on in the body. So, you know, everyone should be on a good probiotic, but that's important for energy and mood. The carbohydrates are important. Eating regularly through the day to keep blood sugar balanced also keeps energy stable. Not skipping breakfast is important for energy. Hydration, drinking at least 2 liters of water, 68 ounces a day is important for energy.
How many cups is that? How many cups is that?
8 to 12 cups. So
8 to
2
12
liters,
cups.
68 ounces. Yeah.
So about every hour drinking water.
Well, and the easiest thing to do, honestly, is to get a glass or a water bottle, ideally not plastic, that is 1 liter or 2 liters in size, or, you know, 48 ounces or 40 ounces, whatever. And then, you know, okay, I only have to fill this twice.
Yeah.
Right? It's
and then
so
you see
easy.
The progress and stuff. Yeah.
And then you feel better and you're like, wow, I do feel better when I drink more water. I do feel better when I eat regularly through the day.
True.
Right? And sleep.
I've been doing like a timer. Every 53 minutes I take a break and then I chug a glass of water, and it's been game changer.
Awesome.
Like, totally game changer.
That's good.
And then, you were saying sleep.
Yeah. Sleep is the other really important factor. People stay up too late. You know, if you have trouble falling asleep or staying asleep, those are signs of hormone imbalances or liver stagnation. So our body's trying to communicate and tell us, but we have not been educated on how to listen to our body and what to do when we get these symptoms. Like, why isn't this taught in schools? I was having a conversation in an interview earlier, and I'm like, these are basic things that should be taught in school, but they're not, and they're not emphasized. And I think we're going to see massive change with that coming up, though. I do think there's massive awakenings and breakthroughs, and we're coming to the golden age. So I do think things are going to change. However, to see where we've come from, it's a disservice to humanity to not provide and equip everybody with these tools. And it's okay, because all of us light workers are here to do different things and help people in different ways. And I'm grateful to be here and be of service. But when you see the way that the system was created, it was not to help us be empowered and succeed pertaining to our health. So sleep is important. If you're not sleeping well, investigate why. If you can't figure it out yourself, get help. I don't necessarily recommend going on Google and trying to diagnose yourself and picking herbs and supplements and things, because here's one example, just to give you an example of why I don't recommend people do this. Say you have high cortisol, which is your stress hormone, and you have adrenal fatigue and you're tired, brain fogged, you're gaining weight in your abdominal. Those are some common adrenal fatigue signs. And then you Google online ways to balance your adrenals, and all these suggestions come up, and maca is one of them. And maca is an adaptogenic herb that can help regulate your cortisol levels. However, because you don't know your other hormone picture, maybe your estrogen's also high. But because you don't know that, you start taking the maca every day as suggested on this website. But then you start gaining weight because maca boosts estrogen levels even higher. So now you're messing up your estrogen, which if you have too high of estrogen, you just can gain weight really easily. Yes, you may be regulating your cortisol, but now you're gaining weight. Now you're frustrated and wondering, well, why am I gaining weight? That's why with hormones, I do suggest get support with somebody, with an expert that can help you, give you reasonable recommendations, lifestyle changes, also work on the mindset. The other thing I'm not really a heavy proponent of is when you do go and see someone and they just give you a bag full of supplements, you end up with really expensive pee, but nothing else has changed. Like the mindset isn't worked on. You don't change your schedule, which is why your hormones are out of whack in the first place. The relationship with food is not looked at. The gut picture isn't looked at. Maybe other hormones weren't tested, so you can't see if other ones are interfering. So it's so important that when you get support, someone can thoroughly help you, or it's a couple people that both have expertise in different areas. And that's one thing that I come from, this humbleness and this gratitude that I've gone through all of that myself. Therefore, that I'm able to help people with all of those things, because I went through the high estrogen and by accidentally taking the maca, because I was, 10 years ago, just reading articles and books and being a guinea pig. And, that's what happens when you're a guinea pig. Some works, some doesn't. But now I know what not to do through obviously also having education and my life experience, and helping others, because it just is so easy to mess things up more, even though you're trying to do good for yourself. Like get the support, or really make sure you know what you're doing.
Oh my gosh. You have so much value to offer.
Aw,
it's incredible.
You.
Like it's so true. I just love any entrepreneur, any person that helps people and really discovers their why, the root cause.
Yeah.
Man, I just admire so much, because that's what has to happen everywhere. Oh my gosh. As I'm saying this, I see 444, which is my main angel number, because I was born at 4:44 a.m. and I know you're into that stuff. So
nice.
I'm like,
it's funny.
That's really cool.
I've been seeing 123, 1234, 111, and 1111 everywhere in the last couple of weeks. Like I swear it's every 10 minutes. So positive signs, right? Good things are happening.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you so much for sharing this burst of knowledge with us. I'm even
My pleasure.
Holy shit, maca, I have that in my fucking shake every morning. I'm maybe I need to, we'll reconnect someday and I'll learn more about that from you, because who knows if it's the right thing for me. Yeah. Oh my gosh. You're just mind blown. Thank you for sharing all your insight, and you have so much more to offer. So I really hope that some of our listeners reach out to you, because you're an amazing light. So I would love to, of course, share with everyone, where can everyone find you? Let them know. Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you so much. I'm so grateful that we've connected, and I feel such a connection with you, fellow Cancer.
Totally.
Right?
Oh my God. So easy.
Right? It is. It truly is. You can find me on my website at amberapproved.ca. I have a free emotional eating quiz if you're curious about, whether or not you're struggling. As well, if you want to connect and have a conversation, I do offer a 30-minute complimentary body freedom call for us to connect. You can find my podcast, the No Sugarcoating Podcast, and all podcast apps. And I am on Instagram, and it's my name, Amber Romaniuk, Romaniuk.
Awesome. Oh my gosh, amazing. And your website was Amber Approved, right?
Yeah, amberapproved.ca.
.ca. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome. And guys, it's going to be linked up in the show notes for you, in case you're just man, I'm driving and I can't keep up and I really want to find her. But yeah, again, thank you so much, Amber. And yeah, you guys listening, hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Yay! Thank you so much for hanging out with me and tuning into this episode. If you got value out of it, please feel free to message me on Instagram at Sarah Monica Photo. That's Sarah no H, Monica with a K photo, to let me know. I get so freaking energized hearing from others that what I've said has had a positive impact on their lives. Also, make sure to hit subscribe to the Shine and Thrive podcast to never miss an episode. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm sending you all the productive vibes your way so you have the best week ever.